Welcome back to the Sports Zone here on AM 1380 WTYM and Family Life TV. Listen to the Sports Zone, brought to you by Walker Motor Company in downtown Katanning. GMC, we are professional grade. And on the phone, we have Ohio Valley Athletics beat writer for the Pittsburgh Pirates, Mr. Mike Waterloo. Mike, how are we doing today?
I'm doing very well, John. How are you doing?
Oh, I can't complain. Doing this whole TV and radio thing, just trying to get used to it here. Now, you were one of the first people that I saw, at least in the social media world, that broke the news about the McCutchen deal. Now, this guy's 25. They have him locked up until at least the whole way through the prime of his career. How big of a signing is this for the Pirates?
Oh, John, it's absolutely huge. I mean, you can't really even put into words how big it is, not just for the franchise, but for the city as well. I mean, as you know, 19 straight years, the fans are fed up with the ownership, with the management, and just with the losing. It's the second biggest deal in franchise history. I mean, they signed Jason Kendall to a 6-year, $60 million deal in 2000. I mean, he's nowhere near the player that McCutchen is. I mean, he's the face of the franchise, so it's huge.
Absolutely, and they got him for just about this. They got him for the money he wanted. The Pirates didn't seem like they wanted to budge too much. There's about $10 million kind of going back and forth. When it comes down to it, what would have happened to this city if they don't get Andrew McCutchen?
If they don't get Andrew McCutchen, you thought what happened whenever they dealt Nate McLeod was bad, and I'm talking Nate McLeod.
Yeah, that's true.
You want to see what happened whenever they dealt McCutchen. There actually would be, for lack of a better word, riots. People would not go to games. They'd be boycotting left and right. So it was definitely huge to lock up the homegrown kid. I mean, he came up to the minor league system, and the Pirates are actually showing effort. And that's what the fans have wanted, just the ownership to show the effort.
Absolutely, and they also locked up Jose Tabata last year, so they have their outfield pretty well intact there. I want to talk about the Pirates kind of rank, and I kind of talked about this before we went to the break. How do the Pirates kind of stack up against everybody else in the NL Central as far as their offense? And I want to talk about their rotation, but I want to talk about their offense first. Their outfield, yeah, it's very, very speedy. However, you see a lot of championship franchises. A lot of them have power bats in the corners of the outfield, at least one corner of the outfield. The Pirates don't have that. How do they stack up against, we'll say the Cardinals, who obviously coming off a great season, winning the World Series, and the Brewers? How do they stack up against the teams like that?
Well, the thing that's most important to know for Pirate fans is just because they signed McCutchen to the deal doesn't mean that they're going to improve this year. I mean, they're still a team projected to win 75 games. So just because they signed a huge deal, it doesn't put them to the top of the division, or even, in my opinion, the top 3 teams. I still have them finishing fourth, especially with the Cardinals. I mean, they did lose Pujols, but I still think that they're going to win the division. All they do instead of Pujols is there's Lance Starks in the first, and then you can't forget about the signing of Carlos Beltran.
Right,
He's an
Beltran.
absolute beast. I mean, like you said, he's one of the power hitters in the corner outfield, which the Pirates lack. They have all the speed in the world, but where's the run going to come from? They don't have anybody who can put the ball over the fence except McCutchen, who's a typical leadoff hitter, you would like to think, but for the Pirates, they have to have him hitting third. So whenever he leads your team with 23 homers, it's kind of a problem. And especially like with the Cardinals rotation, Chris Carpenter, Jaime Garcia, Kyle Lewis, Jake Westbrook, and the biggest question mark of all is definitely Adam Wainwright. He had Tommy John surgery. He missed all of last season. So if he can return back to Cy Young form, it's going to be kind of tough to compete with them.
Absolutely, and even the Brewers have a pretty formidable offensive attack. Now let's go down rotations, because this was something that really held the Pirates together for at least the first part of the season before the wheels fell off of it. They go out and they sign A.J. Burnett, and he's taking bunting practice, and he shatters his orbital bone. How snake-bitten is this franchise, and is this going to be a big setback for them? Because for all intents and purposes, he was going to be their opening day starter, right?
Correct. I mean, I just feel so bad for the Pirates. it seems like if there wasn't bad luck, the Pirates wouldn't have any luck at all.
That's right.
It's definitely a setback for them and for him and the team, but I think they will be okay. The thing that isn't good for the Pirates is they have the hardest schedule in the first month in the majors. So losing their ace definitely doesn't help that out at all. So they're definitely going to be counting on Eric Bedard, James McDonald, Kevin Correa, Karstens, and probably Brad Blinken until Charlie Morton gets healthy.
Yeah, well, that brings up another question. How many curveballs can Bedard throw until his arm completely shatters like other seasons?
I'm going to say about 82 of them. And after that, all joking aside, though, Bedard, he has to stay healthy. It's his first stint in the National League, so I'm hoping that helps him out a little bit. But I just don't think he's going to stay healthy until he proves me wrong. I'm hoping it's long enough until A.J. Burnett comes back to the team and helps them out. If not, the Pirates are going to be in some trouble.
Yeah, that rotation. Although, I mean, they have a lot of horses in the barn right now in the farm system. Probably not going to unveil any of them. Any chance they unveil any one of those big prospects this year? You think whether you're talking about Jamison Taillon or Stetson Alley, or I mean, I know they drafted Garrett Cole, but they said that he would be the most pro ready. Any chance we see any big guys step up?
I don't think you see Taillon or Ollie. Garrett Cole, I have him projected to be in the rotation the beginning of next year. I don't think you'll see him up this year. Person that I think you might see up is Kyle McPherson. He's kind of under the radar compared to the other guys, but he definitely made a name for himself last year, and he's earning a lot of respect throughout the organization and with all the scouts also.
Yeah, well, like I said, there's plenty of people that are being seasoned for the future, but right now the rotation, when you look at it and you're like, well, that's not too bad, but then you gotta have to put it into perspective as opposed to other teams' rotations. How do they rank up? You got them fourth in the division in rotations too, just like the offense?
Yeah, I have them fourth in rotation also. Of course, having the Cubs and the Astros behind them. I'm going to put the Cardinals number one, and then I have to put the Reds number two just because of the acquisition of Matt Latos.
Yeah.
To go with Johnny Cueto, Bronson Arroyo, Mike Leake, Homer Bailey, and then this could also be the year that Aroldis Chapman goes into the rotation. And
well, if he's throwing 105-mile-per-hour fastballs, he's everyone else better look out.
Exactly. As I say, if you don't know about Chapman, watch out.
Mm-hmm.
That's where this guy throws heat. And then I also have the Brewers above them just because of Yvonne Gallardo. He's one of the most underrated pitchers in the game to me. Zach Greinke, his second year in the National League, I think he has a bounce-back year. Huge year. Sean Markham, Randy Wolf, and then Chris Narveson also.
So all of those rotations, and just from you rattling them off there, you can tell that there's more talent currently on those squads than what the Pirates are sporting. Now, the Pirates, they haven't looked extravagant in preseason play right now, kind of hovering back and forth. But do you put any stock into preseason baseball? Do you take anything out of it? I mean, do you see players go out there and put a performance in and say, that's not a good indicator? Or do you say, you know what, just blow it off. It's the Grapefruit League. Wait until the season starts, and then I'll get worried about it.
Preseason means absolutely nothing, John. I mean, this is honestly a perfect example for you. Last season, the current Pirate hopeful Jake Fox, he's hoping to make the team now. He led the majors in hitting, 333 and 7 home runs in spring training. Do you have any idea what he did during the regular season?
Go ahead. Shoot it off for me.
He had 246 and 2 homers before being designated for assignment by the Orioles. it means absolutely nothing. And I apologize, I'm having a malfunction over here. Yes, it means absolutely nothing. If I see the young players like Starling Marte, I mean, he's tearing the cover off the ball, hitting 667. Matt Haig's hitting 500. Alex Presley's hitting 667. But it doesn't mean anything until the actual game starts.
Yeah, I completely agree, because you never know the kind of competition the guys are playing against, whether their whole heart is into it or not. And I don't really take a whole lot of big indications out of the Grapefruit League. Before we get you out of here, I want to know, and you were on a couple weeks ago, but that was during the Friday time slot. We're on the new Tuesday time slot. I want to know, you sticking by, anything change enough for you to stick by your prediction of the Pirates record, a couple games under 500? Are you still sticking with that?
I'm still sticking with 79 and 83.
79 and 83. That would be that's just terrible for Pirates fans. You're almost there, but it's still just a losing season. Even with Burnett getting hurt, he's going to miss a few starts. It could maybe even dip below that if you want to account for some of the games that they're going to miss with him. So right now, 79-83. That's where you got him.
Yeah, that's still where I have him at. It's definitely an improvement, but like you said, it's the biggest tease in the world. Pirates just going to tease their fans all year. So.
Well, it would be better if they just stayed the course throughout the year. They went up and down, then they stay level, and they end a few games under 500, rather than to be winning the division in July and then completely blow up towards the end of the year. So I don't know which one's better, up and down the whole year and kind of staying steady, or shooting way up and then boom. Which as a Pirates fan or just as an observer of the game, which one would you prefer there?
I prefer them just to go stay the course the whole way through the season, because at this point we still don't know how to describe the Pirates of last season. Was it a success because of the first half, or was it a failure because of the second half? Were the players that good, or did the true self come out at the end? So this way, if they play 500 ball the whole way, or as I predicted, just under 500 ball, we have an idea of what kind of team we're actually dealing with.
Absolutely. Well, time will tell. They got about 3 weeks before the season starts. Mike Waterloo, Ohio Valley Athletics beat writer for the Pirates, he's saying 79-83, and once again, the Pirates fans will be snake-bitten, apparently. Well, Mike, thank you for taking your time out to be on the Sports Zone. We really appreciate it, and we'll be in touch throughout the season, and hopefully you're right, but hopefully you're just a little bit wrong so they can get over that 500 mark.
I'm hoping I'm wrong also. The fans of the Pirates definitely need a successful season out of them.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much for joining us, Mike. We'll be talking to you.
All right, John. Have a great day.
Yeah, you too. That was Ohio Valley Athletics beat writer for the Pittsburgh Pirates, Mike Waterloo, 79-83. What do you think about that, Pirates fans? Well, it's an improvement, right? It's an improvement. Kinda. Time will tell. All right, I think...